Hello and welcome back to Exeter, where my lads clearly had a very good Christmas because they came back on Boxing Day and have been unbelievable. I'll get you caught up. We last met with the 2-1 victory over Plymouth with a fairly rotated side, so good 3 points there, and even better 3 points in the derby game that followed, the actual derby game, not the derby. You know what I mean? Plymouth is a derby game, derby is the derby game. Confusing terminology. But yes, we beat them 3-0 away from home, another promotion rival. Drew 1-1 with Fleetwood, and after that, it's been win after win. Cheltenham and Rotherham dealt with Leyton Orient 4-2 away from home. That was the Boxing Day game. We did go 4-0 up and then just went, yeah, you can have two. Shrewsbury went 5-0 up and we just let them have a consolation goal. Northampton, we went 7-0 up against and let them have a consolation goal. The consolation goal thing is a little annoying. I'd like to keep some clean sheets. Frankly, we have kept two in recent days though, which is a little promising. Huddersfield and Crawley in those ones. But yeah, 7-1 against Northampton. They are bottom of the table. That was my second string team. I could see why they're bottom of the table. And then the really awkward one. We beat Coventry 6-3 to set up a fourth round tie with Bournemouth, which I'm bringing you today because it's Bournemouth and then it's Portsmouth. We're sticking on the south coast today. I don't know what it is. And you can see as well, in those games since Boxing Day, Leyton Orient, Shrewsbury, Northampton, we scored 4 goals in the first 33 minutes against Leyton Orient. We scored 4 goals in the first 42 minutes against Shrewsbury. We scored 5 goals in the first 33 minutes against Northampton. And we scored 4 goals in the first 32 minutes against Coventry. We have been out of the blocks in those games in particular remarkably well. Was 4-2 at halftime. They made it 4-3 just after halftime. We did get 2 more goals after that to make it a little bit more comfortable. But yes, Cambridge, Huddersfield, Crawley and MK Dons all dispatched. Domenico Zukov has finally gotten over his lack of playing time now that he's played about 15 games this year. Took him a while. Dieng finally kicked off, by the way, and was happy to be relegated to squad player. Just because I'd previously brought that up, but he did finally get upset. January transfer window came and went. We sold Pierce Sweeney for £29,000. He was out of contract at the end of the year. Feel a little bit sorry mugging Lincoln off, but thank you for the 30 grand, effectively. And the only inbound was Carl Jenkinson, because I got fed up of not having any right backs. Josh Key's been in and out of the injury rooms that often I might as well install a revolving door. He's not great, he's 2.5 stars, he's here as a fringe player, he's agreed to 750 quid a week. It's Carl Jenkinson. It's a name that's actually fairly recognisable from his almost decade at Arsenal, even if he didn't spend all of it at Arsenal. Did get an England cap once upon a time. Experience. But whilst we've not had McLaughlin or Key for several games, I discovered that Jake Caprice was actually a right back. It's a little bit awkward, that one. He's been listed basically as the second best left back this entire time. I considered him as a left back. I didn't realise he was A, right-footed and actually competent at right back. That one's on me a little bit. Note to self, and note to anyone watching, check your players. Check your players, because you might have done something like this. So for the time being, it's Caprice and Jenkinson at right back, whilst my other 2 right backs are injured. I've got 4 now. 5 if you include Andre Wisdom, who really isn't that good anymore. But all those wins, unsurprisingly, means we are now top. Yeah. And there's a bit of a gap as well. Ipswich have come with us, but after that, yeah, 13 points back to Wycombe from that point onwards. And then Plymouth, there's a bit of a gap between them and Peterborough. We're sort of separating into sections now, based on where we are in the league. The automatic promotion spots are pulled away from the playoff spots, and those playoff spots are pulled away from everyone else. Leyton Orient, who were with us in the early season and were top very briefly, now in 13th. But 40 points in 13th and 14th, in fact 39 for Cheltenham, 46 for Peterborough. Not a lot separates that section in the middle. And then there's a bit of a separation to the ones at the very bottom. Again, Sonny Perkins continues to be the best player in League One. Not just on average rating, but in the season preview as well. We've moved up that. I guess it's because our players are developing as we continue through the season, but we have moved up to 7th in that now. Perkins is ridiculous. He's scored 17 goals in 22 starts with 6 assists. He's a central midfielder, who thankfully doesn't have more goals than my actual striker. I did get that wrong, by the way. They were both on the 11 at the time when I mentioned it last time out, but Beerith now up to 22 goals in 25 starts. That's the catch-up. Now we play Bournemouth in the FA Cup 4th round. It's a South Coast derby in the FA Cup. Because this is a cup game, I am putting a spare goalkeeper on the bench. But Roost will be in goal, Fleming at left back and Bette Stubbs Caprice at right back, who has actually been surprisingly good in everyone else's absence. quite frankly, a revelation. 8 starts, he's averaging 7.5. Ramirez and Morton, Perkins in front of them. Jay and Ince on the right side, who has decided to become good at football. His last 5 games, 7.26, although his last 3 haven't been great. I can see on the last 5 games, started to get good. You may remember last time I was here, Tom Ince's average rating for the season was 6.6. It's now 6.9, which shows you how good the time in between's been for him. Ramirez is the one that's kind of dropped off a little bit in recent weeks. That's maybe because he is very much declining as a human being at this stage. I still don't have anyone better to put in there, so Ramirez stays. Jay and Ince with Bournemouth up front. 22 goals, 14 goals for Matt Jay, 5 for Tom Ince now, 17 for Perkins. The only outfield player without a goal in the starting 11 is Jake Caprice. Scott Parker's still in charge of Bournemouth 1 year in. They've got Fabio Silva on loan, which seems unfair. I also feel like one of us should not be playing in a red kit. I think it's because the game recognises Bournemouth's primary colour as black, not red, judging by the scoreboard. This match, both of us playing in our home kits, does make Bournemouth look like the evil twin version of Exeter. It's Exeter from the darkest timeline. Gonçalves on a corner here. I'm worried by this because it started with the corner. Seriously? Like, I know don't Bournemouth have like a green kit? Or am I thinking of Sheffield? Solanke is through. He's hit the crossbar. But not to put praise on a fellow South Coast team, but Bournemouth did make the journey from League 2 to the Premier League. Journey that we're trying to emulate in the similarly vastly undersized stadium. That's got through, and I don't like that. Worth noting, both Coventry and Bournemouth are championship teams. Bournemouth weren't promoted, which is why I was surprised that Scott Parker was still in charge, actually. But no, they didn't get promoted. They're still here in the championship. And considering Coventry were 3rd in the championship, where we drew them at least, a little bit concerned how tame we've been today. We'd already scored 4 goals by this point. We've only had 1 shot on target all half here. Mark Travers in goal is definitely beatable. What are we doing? Accidentally told my defenders I didn't like their defensive work there, which is something I never do because it normally makes them demotivated, but we got away with it. Gave faith to everyone else. Escalante to Zamora. Can we do something really, quite frankly? There we are. Thank you, Perkins. The ever-present Perkins is, no, giving it away. Never mind. I was about to praise him in Solanke's ear. This isn't good news. Yep. Oh, they've acquired Nampalys Mendy from Leicester. Cool. Cool. I do not understand how you go from beating Coventry 6-3 away from home to this kind of performance. Also, in case you were wondering, I did finally realise that I was using the wrong scene. To record these, I now have the proper size camera in the corner, the one that you're used to from recent times. I did switch back to regular OBS after the Streamlabs incident, and didn't realise which was the scene I normally used. Tom Ince is playing awfully, Jay is playing awfully. Roos, surprisingly, is actually the only one with a good rating right now. Actually, Morton 6.9, I've just seen it. But I just praised you, Tom Ince. Did I have 1 winger on the bench? I only had 1 winger on the bench. Cool, where's Scott Sinclair gone? I also praised Caprice, and he's not been good either. Jenkins, 3 changes are happening right now. Also just going to bring our defensive line back a smidge as well, just because I don't want that Solanke thing to happen again. But literally nothing's happening. Cool. We had 3 shots all game. I get that in terms of personnel, Bournemouth are a better team. And they're a better team than Coventry as well, of course. I just don't know where the performance was from our team. I'm so close to throwing a water bottle here. But I know that's just going to demotivate them, so I won't. Football Manager still hasn't actually found a way to make throwing the water bottle a viable choice at any stage. No replays either anymore in the 4th round still. I suppose this was the World Cup year, actually. It was a boring World Cup. France beat Germany in the final. So kind of predictable. No wild World Cups here, unfortunately. The weirdest thing was the fact that Qatar got out of their group. Yeah, they got to the knockouts. Promptly beaten in the knockouts, but they did get out of their group. It is a full week to Portsmouth though, so I don't need to rest anyone. That's just... I wouldn't mind if the performance was better. Scott Parker was the gracious winner though. Apparently complimented me in the post-match conference, which I didn't go to. But all that means is that all that's left is the League One situation, which I now realise we played a game in advance because of the Bournemouth match. It's actually now only a 10-point gap between Ipswich and Wickham, 12 to us. Oh, just because it will happen probably by the next episode, whenever I end up bringing you back. But we do have the preview for the youth intake. It's apparently going to be an excellent intake. It's 4.5 stars, which means it's not going to be exceptional on the prediction. It's not like we're going to have a worldie come through, but it looks like we're going to have some pretty good players in comparison to our current team in terms of their potential, which likely means we're going to have a few championship level players come through when they develop. So there might be good backup players by the time they're actually worth bringing in. Apparently, this is already my 100th game in Football Management. How many games did we play last year? Okay, now I scroll back through the season. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of games. Yeah, it tracks. About 60 last year, about 40 this year so far. Yeah, probably about right, actually. Oh, that's where Scott Sinclair was. He was injured recently. A little bit of unfortunate news with Tyler Morton picking up an injury yesterday, which would see him out of this game and possibly the next as well. But that is against 22nd place Burton. Portsmouth, however, a little bit more of a challenge. It's away from home. They are 15th. It's a little bit underwhelming, but they should be higher than that. So I'm not going to underestimate them. Roos remains in goal. In fact, the remainder of the team stays the same. It's just the Morton injury. Soulé comes in. I'm sticking with Caprice at right back, even though he's leaving at the end of the year, and even though Josh Key's back from injury. Josh Key, in 15 starts, has had no assists, no goals, nothing of note. Does have a 7-ish average rating, but other than that, non-existent. Caprice has 6 assists in his 9 starts so far. It's 3 assists in 7 league appearances, 3 in the cup. I think he had 3 of those. I think all 3 of those came against Coventry. But in our home kit, once again, this time there's no kit clash because Portsmouth play in blue. And thankfully, there weren't actually that many highlights in the Bournemouth game, so it wasn't that difficult to track. The only 2 highlights we saw were the goals, effectively, I think. So let's hope for a little bit more of an even game here, although Portsmouth are in. It's a good challenge by Mbete. That might be the highlight. Sometimes you do get good defensive moments in highlights. That could have been one such incident. Moncur whops that in, and dear. I'm really unfortunate that went in because I think I just said the word whop instead of whip. I combined whip and pop, I think, and ended up with whop. But anyway, he's whopped it in, and Raggett, I mean, Roos's save is excellent. It's just unfortunate that Eli is stood directly in front of him. Or Ely, like the town, maybe. I do believe Portsmouth beat us at home as well, so there was talk of revenge in the pre-match press conference. That's a good challenge by Ramirez, who did get sent off for a challenge recently. I think it was overturned because he was available for the next match. I didn't see the overturning, but I think it might have been. I mean, it has to have been, otherwise he would have been unavailable to play. But so I think I broke the game because I had a red card that was overturned. It was one of the cleanest tackles you ever see in the match engine, but that never really means anything. Ince plays Beerith in here, though, and it could be an assist for Ince if Beerith was better. Come on, mate, you are the second top high scorer. Not sure those words were meant to go in that order. Mbete has scored a goal, though, from a corner. Tom Ince does get his assist, though. Also, minor question, how do those ambulances get in that corner? There's a building behind them and a football ground on this side. I kind of hope there's a highlight in that corner again, just so you can see it, because what? How? I mean, I suppose those are garage doors. Fair enough, but that is a tiny space. That is a tiny space to try and get through. A manoeuvre. I don't know how they managed to park that way around. Better parkers than I am, that's for sure. Anyway, Perkins has stood over a free kick. I'm not... Jesus. Even I wasn't expecting him to do that. I didn't even know he was on free kicks. Does that go through the wall? Yep, it goes through the wall. Perkins has hit that so hard, he's made it quantum entangled. And you may remember in the first portion of this season, in particular, we were getting high XGs, but not the goals. That's somewhat flipped in recent times. We're still having the performances, don't get me wrong. 7-1, 5-1, they don't happen by accident. But obviously the XG on those games are significantly less. So we are sort of getting the other end of the elastic band coming back effectively at this point. It is averaging itself out again, although I've just noticed how defensive Portsmouth are. What is going on here? Josh Key is going to come on. Ramirez is tied. I'm going to bring Dieng on. And I don't really know what to do for the last sub. 15 minutes to go. I might hold on to it for a little bit just in case there's a late injury or something like that. Steele. We're 2-1 up. Do I encourage or do I praise? Key to Ince. Key's done the overlap. Key is there. Although we've moved it backwards to Stubbs. Dieng now. Key again. Key's still on the ball. Can Key get his first assist of the season? That's gone all the way back to... He can, is the answer. Josh Key to Matt J in a delightfully matching syllabic? I suppose that would be the word. But yes, with a 4-letter first name and a 3-letter surname, Josh Key to Matt J. It all lined up perfectly. Temenuzukov is going to come on. And I've now got comfortable saying his name. Moncur, though, on a free kick. I don't like that. Did that hit the crossbar? Looked like it bounced off something anyway. Perkins with another free kick. Is he just going to smash it through again? No, this one's saved. We've had 12 shots on target from 22 shots in total. Portsmouth have had 7 in 11. Their shots on target to shot ratio is really quite good. Ours are a little bit more wasteful, although not by much looking at it in the end. A vital 3 points away and our South Coast brethren as Ipswich continue their hunt with a 6-1 victory over MK Dons, trying to claw that goal difference back as well. Our Ipswich. Doncaster in 11th with a 12 goal difference. How have they managed? Northampton's goal difference is 40. Minus 40. It's weird. Most of their games are actually quite tight, and then it was 7-1 against us and 6-1 against Bolton. Mbetti's coming in and going out, being jaded all the time. It's really frustrating. I don't really know why he's as such. It's not like he's international tracked. He probably should declare for Congo, in fairness, but yeah, I don't really get him in that sense. He's got decent natural fitness, but his stamina is low, so it's one of those 50-50s when it comes to why has he got a tiny bit of ability as a makeshift on the wing? Sorry, where did that come from? As an inverted winger, probably. With his 2 finishing and 5 crossing, he's not good at either inverted role. But he does have really good first touch and passing, so I can sort of see how it works. His dribbling isn't atrocious. It's not good, but it's not atrocious. So I can sort of see how it could almost work if either his crossing or finishing was better. But they're not. Anyway, I'll send my assistant to that press conference because there didn't seem to be any questions about transfers for him to mangle. My assistant manager is called Wayne Carlisle. He's the one that's already at Exeter. I sent him to the Carlisle post-press conference, which was confusing because he came out of that one by saying, that, well, the press came out of that conference by running the headline, Carlisle please for the fans, which was a little awkward because they'd lost 3-0. I know they meant our fans, but phrasing for the press there, that would be great. So we are out of the FA Cup. I would have possibly snuck 1 or 2 more episodes in if we'd had progressed in that further, but no, we're out of that now. So 2 more episodes in this season. I'm eyeing Lincoln Charlton in the middle there. And then, of course, we'll bring you back at the end of the season. So pretty straightforward from here on in terms of when I will see you next. But I can't spend a year in this division without playing Lincoln on an episode. So they'll be next. They are 7th as well. Charlton, very underwhelming in 18th. But that makes sense to me. I'll see you for those, and I will then see you at the end of the season. Disappointing against Bournemouth, back to form against Portsmouth. We got one of the mouth correct, at least. I'll see you very soon. Until next time, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Ta-ra.